Good morning, folks. Now, last night I was watching one of King Rich's classic videos. I love his channel, but I have to make an apology and make an admission. It's been a while since I've watched his channel. I've had a lot and have a lot going on in my life at the moment. So, King Rich's my man. I do apologize. Anyway, I was watching I will leave the link of his video in my description box so you could see for yourself. Now, I may get the title of this video incorrect. It was dating for black men, not fun, not easy. I may get the description, the title slightly wrong, but that's the summary of the title. Anyway, he was talking about the plight of the dating experience for black men. Now, I can't fault anything that he said in that video. And now, before I make my point, I want to make something very clear first. I want to preface a lot of stuff. One, I have no problems with the way white people live their lives. I have no problem with white people at all. I'm only going to give you my opinion. This is not a coping mechanism. I'm just giving you my opinion, and I will give you my dilemma at the end of it as well. And I also give you a breakdown of the two types of people on this planet, right? So bear this in mind, right? So he was talking about the dilemmas of black men, but he was focusing more so on white women in terms of their lack of interest in black men, and comparing the difference between the difference in the effort that a white man has to make in terms of getting dates compared to a black man. And he also gave illustrations of how difficult it is, how the difficulties of black men dating amongst black women as well. But the focus was more on white women as such. Now, this is where my opinion comes in. Now, he lives, I think he lives outside. Either he lives in Essex or Kent, but it doesn't really matter where he lives. But this kind of ties in with my illustration. The sort of white women that he was referring to in terms of in clubland and social media and stuff. Now, the reason why most of them don't really appeal to me as a partner, this is regardless whether they find me attractive or not. That it just doesn't. That's not an issue for me, right? Their response to me is not part of the equation at all. And even if I had billions in the bank, it still wouldn't make any difference. In fact, it'll make things worse, actually, to be honest with you. Anyway, reason why the average white woman don't appeal to me in terms of a long-term partner, right? I don't mind casual and having fun, right? Because they are quite fun in the bedroom. Right, is that I find most of them quite predictable and very similar to each other. Most of them have a very high street image. There's not much that separates them from each other. So I'm not saying they all look the same, but they look very similar to each other. I tend to be attracted to women who have something slightly different about them, slightly quirky, bit more trendy, or I'm attracted to quirky and someone who's got something that separates them from the average person. I mean, like, I'll give you an example with myself. I try to make myself a little bit different from that. If you look at the shape of my beard, right, I try to stand up from the crowd a bit. So I tend to, I class myself as a little bit quirky myself, right? I don't come across as a typical black guy. So I'm into quirkiness, right? So that's factor number one. Factor number two, I find with most white women, their worldly outlook again is quite limited, very limited to reality television, magazine gossip. Yeah, and if I had to go to the musical taste, most of them it's very mainstream. Again, nothing too underground, nothing too unusual. Again, very samey, very predictable as such. And what else? Yeah, and in terms of the type of guys, most of them tend to like. I say they tend to like the typical football fan. In terms of a young guy, if you go to any football match, most of the guys there who has that same football fan look, that's the sort of guy they tend to. So I'm not now. Listen, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that, but basically, I'm just not attracted to normal. I'm just not attracted to ordinary. Ordinary doesn't really cut it for me on a long term basis. Right? My dilemma, the sort of women that I would really like, is very rare. Like I said, quirky. I tend to like them a bit darker, i.e., Mediterranean, Latino, Middle Eastern. Putting aside black, I mean, obviously I like black women as well, but like I'm just saying in terms of putting aside the sort of black women I like, I tend to go for the Mediterranean look preferably. So that's all. I mean, it's kind of very rare as such. And then now coming back to two types of people on the planet. To me, you either fall into one or two categories. You're either a global person or you're a tribal person. Now, let me give the breakdown. Now, a global person does what it says on the tin. You could put them anywhere in the world. You could put them in the Amazon jungle and they'll get on. You could put them amongst a majority of people that doesn't look like them, who doesn't speak like them, doesn't eat like them, and they'll just get on with trying to blend in with their surroundings. So they welcome difference. They enjoy difference. Whereas a tribal person, doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever, you're only comfortable around your familiar surroundings. And I find with most white women, this isn't a criticism, it's just an observation. Everything I say is just an observation, not a criticism. Most of them are quite tribal. They're not very good with anything outside of their culture, outside of their comfort zone. So the sort of white women that King Richez was referring to in terms of them not being interested in a black guy, I wouldn't really be that interested in them anyway. And this is not a coping mechanism. Please trust me. This is not a coping mechanism. I'm just giving my opinion and my observation. And as I've stated before, there's nothing wrong with their attitude. There's nothing wrong with their lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just how they live on this planet. It's just different to how I live on this planet. The things they do, the things they're interested in, it's just different to things I'm interested in. So in terms of a long-term partner, they would not be first on my choice. They really wouldn't. I'd party with them. I'd be friends with them. I'd have sex with them. But in terms of going on my knee and marrying one of them, definitely not. So, but I was just giving my opinion. And the reason why I'm making this video is maybe some of you guys never kind of thought about that. Maybe you're focused on, say, maybe pulling a white chick because you might fancy her, But some of you guys may not stop to think, well, hold a minute. Are you compatible in terms of long-term wise? Long-term wise, can you two really be a companion? Obviously, there are, of course, there's white women, Asian women. There's women of every culture that you can be. This is not a color thing. This is more of an attitude thing, and this also goes for black women as well. So, finding a partner, it just comes down to, can you make a life with that particular person? And that's basically what it falls down to. And the majority of the white women that King Richez is referring to, I couldn't make a life with them anyway. So it's no love lost to me that they wouldn't be interested in me. Like I said, I'd party with them, I'd be friends with them, I'd work with them, I'd even have sex with them. But long term, nah. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.